A vision comes to me. Vicious. Grotesque. Lustful. The stench of death. Sounds of agony. The ritual of Death Night.
Alright, YouTube. What the crap's going on? HeirofCarthage here. Holy crap. That trailer, though. That trailer. This is going to be good, folks. So, we got a new DLC coming for Total War Warhammer 2. Let's jump in and talk about it. This DLC is going to feature Alariel, the Everqueen of the High Elves, leading a unique faction, Averlorn, and also Halabron the Crone, leading the unique faction of Harganeth. So there's some pretty exciting stuff that's going to be coming with this DLC. There's obviously going to be these two new legendary lords that I just named. A lot of times they drop a free DLC with this type of thing too. I haven't seen any news yet, but I'm assuming we'll probably have the same thing happen. I don't know what that is. But we're going to get a couple of more unique playable factions. Obviously, like I said, one's High Elf, one is Dark Elf. I'm super excited for this. There's going to be new units. There's going to be Regiment of Renown. There's going to be new campaign, what do you call it? Campaign traits, campaign unique, what do you call it? Unique features, probably is the best way to say it with some of these. And so it's going to be pretty good. You're seeing some of the new units shown here too. Yeah, and we'll talk through those units here in a minute, but trailer's absolutely sick. If you haven't watched it, the music's amazing, sound is amazing. Dude, I'll tell you what, the Warhammer team over at CA, they have upped their game when it comes to trailers. They know how to get a hype train rolling, and they're doing a pretty darn good job of it. Let's switch up over here to the Steam page, and let's talk a little bit about what you get. So it's available May 31st. I'm hoping, obviously, that I'll get early access to this. I have with every other DLC. As soon as I can show you something, I will. As soon as I know more, I'll let you know. But otherwise, let's cover what we do know. So what's the basic overview of what's in the DLC? Coming straight off the Steam page. 2 new legendary lords. New quest chains. Magic items and skill trees. Campaign mechanics and objectives. New hero type for the elves. A new lord type for the dark elves. New battlefield units for both of those races, and then 16 elite regiments of renown. So pretty cool stuff. It gives you some background here. Let's just read a little bit here. Alariel the Radiant, commanding the High Elf faction of Averlorn. Alariel's power is that of nature itself. As she travels through the elven lands, she brings great joy to the people, improving public order and reducing corruption. However, she is also subject to the mortal world's torment. As chaos seeps into the world, her battlefield powers wane. Only reducing and ridding chaos will return her army to full power. So we find out that she is a mixed lore caster with both life magic and high magic. She has access to different mounts that she can use in battle. So an elven steed, a barded Thielmar steed, and a great eagle. And she can recruit forest units, which is going to be unique, such as dryads, treekin, and tree men. That is going to add a very unique feel. And if those show up in multiplayer too, then that's gonna be something. So that'll really be interesting additions to the High Elves, who are already a fairly tough faction. Her unique campaign mechanic is called Defender of Ulthuan. So essentially, she has to keep Ulthuan safe. If it starts to get invaded, it's gonna lower her power or these benefits you get. And if you're keeping it very safe, she gets all these powerful benefits. She has access to a unique rite, which is the invocation of Lilith, or however you say that. Once it's active, it brings a suite of benefits to handmaidens and sisters of Averlorn and dryads. Sisters of Averlorn are one of the new units. Now, Crone Halabron, she is the Hag Queen of Harganeth. With that kind of title, you know people think you're beautiful, right? Anyway, it says she may periodically call a death night, which is where they expend slaves on a night of murderous rampage. Sounds like a dark elf. Failure to regularly hold these festivals will have a detrimental effect. As each death night is called, nearby dark elves undertake the blood voyage, raising an army, enthralled to Crone Halabron, and in whose post-battle rewards she shares. So I don't know exactly what that means, and I'm going to have to get a feel for it, but it sounds like all these other factions are going to be calling up armies that might almost look like a WoW army, maybe, and then she gets benefits. Yeah, I don't know from that. I got to figure that out. She gives big upkeep reductions to Witch Elves and Executioners and Sisters of Slaughter, which is another new unit. In terms of mounts, she can get access to a Dark Steed, a Cauldron of Blood, and a Manticore. And Hellebrand also has access to a new right, which is the Sacrifice of Drakira. When it's active, it reduces diplomatic relations with the High Elves, as if they weren't bad enough when you're the Dark Elves. But it also gives you bonuses in fighting them, and rank bonuses to your Death Hags and Witch Elves. So here's the unique units. Let's walk through these. You saw some of them in the video. You can actually go back and check out the video if you want. The Sisters of Averlorn. It's a dual role unit. I'm assuming maybe kind of like a Lothern Sea Guard. But it's a blade and a bow, so they probably won't be anti-large focused like the Sea Guard. But they have magical bows, and that was the cool, like, glowing blue bows I think that you all saw there. So definitely going to be an interesting unit indeed. So flaming and magical damage. So these guys are going to be a nightmare for vampires. That's for sure. Shadow Warriors, which is another one for Alariel. These are a Vanguard deploy long-range archer. They also showed up in the video. I think if you see the guy like kind of putting the arrow up on the bow there for just a second. They're an ambush unit. They can fire while moving, and they can fire in any direction, which is going to make them a cool unit indeed. And then Sisters of Slaughter is going to be one for Hellebrand. And essentially they've got these poisonous lashes. They've obviously their Murderous Mastery can trigger for them, and they've got an augment that when they're losing in melee, it improves their combat abilities and probably makes them tougher to kill. Doomfire Warlocks, which we saw there too. I think that was the dudes that were like holding out their hands, and they had like the magical glowing stuff there. It's like a light cavalry, it looked like. It says they deal both magical and poisonous attacks in melee. They're subject to murderous prowess, and they can cast 2 bound spells, Soul Blight, which is a debuff to enemy units, and Lesser Doom Bolt, which we have to assume is exactly what it says, some lesser version of the Doom Bolt off of the Lords. The unique hero for the High Elves is a Handmaiden. It tells you, it says they have unique specializations and a skill tree enabling them to influence diplomacy, trade, and it says Peerless Archer, so we have to assume they're a ranged unit, which I believe we saw that in the trailer as well. And then the Supreme Sorceress, which again, I think we saw this in the trailer. It's a sorceress that can be recruited. You got Fire, Dark, Shadows, Beast, and Death as the lores they can carry. And then in terms of the mounts, some cool things here. There's Dark Steed, Cold One, Dark Pegasus, and a Manticore, and a Black Dragon. So that's going to give a whole lot more Lord options to the Dark Elves too. These guys are going to get considerably more dangerous in multiplayer, I think. And then there's all these Regiments of Renown. Now this is also really cool stuff. I don't know if we saw all these in the video, but definitely want to cover this. So this Scions of Mathlon, a Spearman, so a High Elf Spearman, and it's got this Aura of Protection, which applies a ward save to nearby units when mana is above 50%, has expert charge defense. Pure Main Company is a White Lion of Trace, has a Guardian passive ability, and then Sunder Armor. So that's going to be pretty cool. Keepers of the Flame is a Phoenix Guard with magical attacks, and when these dudes die, they blow up into flames and damage the nearby units. It's kind of like the Death Blow for Slayers. That's going to be sick. Storm Riders is a Lothern Sea Guard, so I know I'm going to enjoy this one because it's one of my favorite units anyway. They cause fear, which is awesome. They can Vanguard deploy and fire whilst moving. Now, I don't know that they can fire in any direction, but still, even being able to fire while moving is kind of a big deal. So then there's the Grey, which is a Shadow Warrior. They have this Loex Shroud ability that increases their speed, reduces detection range. Really cool stuff. And a Snipe attribute, which allows them to actually fire while hidden, which you don't see that on a lot of units. That is a really cool trait and could be of very interesting use in certain situations. Now, Everqueen's Court Guard. This is a Sisters of Avalorn unit. It has an Encourage ability, which is going to be great for keeping lower tier units in the fight. And then it has this Banner of Avalorn ability, which is going to be really cool too, because it's going to support your spellcasters by increasing the Winds of Magic recharge rate. Now this unit, the Fireborn, really caught my attention. This is a Dragon Prince with a bonus versus large and fire attacks. Holy crap. Can you say goodbye, Crypt Horrors? That was like one of the first thing I thought of with this unit. We're going to have to test that just for fun, just to see how bad these guys own Cryptors. But there'll be other uses for them as well. Heralds of the Wind is an Illyrian Reaver that has increased speed and improved melee stats, so that's going to be pretty awesome. And then we move over to Helibron. So the Helibroni Dread Spears with poison attack, expert charge defense, those are going to be super useful. Sisters of the Singing Doom, a witch elf that can cause terror. Witch elves are pretty dangerous as it is. Yeah, these are going to be some ladies you don't want to get tangled up with. The Bolt Fiends, a Dark Shard that has Shield Breaker, so when they shoot you, it reduces your block chance, and they have additional range. So, yeah, that's going to hurt. That's going to hurt. So think about losing all your block chance while approaching a line of Dark Shards. Goodbye, infantry. Slanisha's Harvesters, a Doomfire Warlock with the Word of Pain and Soul Stealer spells, bound a Soul Stealer. That is going to be brutal. You're going to be able to keep these guys alive for a long time by using that. Now, I'm assuming it probably has a number of uses, maybe just one. We'll see. But Soul Stealer can be pretty good at sucking the life out of a blob of infantry. Then you have this Knights of the Ebon Claw. This is a Dread Knight, and this is pretty cool. A Dread Knight that doesn't rampage. Now, that's a big deal. And the Murderous Prowess is upgraded to Murderous Mastery, so that's going to be a pretty sweet unit. A War Hydra with Frostbite Contact Effect, and a Frost Breath, which deals more damage, and it also applies the Frostbite, which slows units down. Very cool deal there. Raven Heralds is a Dark Rider, except now they're mounted on a Dark Pegasus. What the heck? Ah. And then on top of all this, right down at the bottom, we get this little note that says, but this is not all. The Druki possess a dark and powerful weapon. When blood runs in rivers and the air is choked with death, the chains will break and this monstrous secret will be unleashed. Folks, this is going to be awesome. This is one of the reasons why it is hard for me to get excited about non-Warhammer Total Wars right now, because this is incredible. I love the story and the what do you call it? The rivalries in Warhammer. The creatures, the magic. Like, I don't even like the Warhammer universe, and I found myself drawn into this. I'm freaking excited. What do you all think? Tell me what you think down in the chat. I want to hear your thoughts. Are you going to get this? I'm going to get it. In fact, I'm so excited for this. I'm going to do a live stream when I finally get access to it, and I am going to be giving away some codes for this. So if you want a chance to try it, stay tuned. Subscribe to the channel, because that's going to be one of the requirements. Stay subscribed, and you'll have a chance to win this for yourself. HeirofCarthage, signing out for now. I will see you all back next time, hopefully with some more news.